We should go, Niko. Thank you.
You piece of shit! That was for everyone! That was for me!
You killed yourself and your cousin, Niko. You're a dead man.
Mikhail fucking yokel! You think you can get away with killing me?
I guess I'll find out!
You think this is worth it? You are throwing you and your fatty cousin's lives away for that bit of Puerto Rican chocha!
I'm throwing your life away, prick! We'll do all right!
My friends will track you down! You won't last a moment!
I'll last longer than you will, shithead!
You will be crushed. Half Beach is a small place. My friends will find you.
You were the stupid one, Vladdy boy. Nobody fucks with my family.
Every Saturday night.
Motherfucker!
Let's go, cousin. Thank you.
You piece of shit! That was for everyone! That was for me! Go away! Florian, Jesi Totti.
Feast your eyes on this.
Terrence, you never cease to amaze.
Really?
Я могу показать тебе то, о чем ты даже не мечтала.